In the Game of Thrones universe, there are 3 unwritten rules when it comes to warging. No clapping cheeks while skin changing, no consuming long pork while warging, and no skin changing into the body of another human. Breaking these tenets earns the label of abomination. But in the books, everybody's favorite crippled warg, Bran Stark, is speedrunning his way through breaking these social taboos. He has already forced his will upon Hodor, pushing the gentle giant's consciousness to hide deep within himself, which allows Bran to frequently take control of Hodor's body. Bran has also consumed human flesh. While warging his starving direwolf Summer, he comes across the bodies of several Night's Watchmen and breaks the second tenet. The only rule he is yet to break is to mate while warging, which might imply something horrific is going to happen in the next book when you consider who Bran has been warging into. The Black Goat of Qohor is a god worshipped in the Game of Thrones universe. The Black Goat demands daily blood sacrifices. His worshippers often bring him cattle and horses to satisfy their god. However, on holy days, condemned criminals go beneath the knives of the Black Goat's priests. In times of danger and crisis, the high nobles of the city offer their own children to the Black Goat in hopes that the greater sacrifice will placate their god, so that he may defend the city. But don't expect the likes of Jon Snow or other Westerosi to sacrifice to the Black Goat anytime soon, as the god is primarily worshipped in Qohor in Essos. Casterly Rock is the ancestral seat of House Lannister, located in the Westerlands of the Seven Kingdoms. The Rock is a formidable castle built into a colossal stone hill overlooking the Sunset Sea. The Rock is a marvel of engineering with extensive underground tunnels and chambers containing grand halls, stables, courtyards, armories, gardens, and most importantly, mines, from which the Lannisters derived much of their wealth. The Rock did not always belong to the Lannisters and was once the seat of House Casterly. However, they were swindled out of their ancestral seat by Lann the Clever, the founder of House Lannister. Stories differ on how he took the Rock. Some say he crept into the Rock at night and would howl like a demon, rigging traps and stealing treasures from one person, placing them in another's room. He did this to set the Casterlys at odds with one another and convince them that the Rock was haunted. Another version of the story tells of how Lann filled the Rock with vermin to drive the Casterlys out. In another, he smuggled in a pride of lions who devoured Lord Casterly and his sons. The Titan of Braavos is a towering statue of granite and bronze in the form of a warrior that guards the entrance to the lagoon where the city of Braavos is situated. The statue stands at over 400 feet tall, wielding the hilt of a broken sword. The Titan acts as a functional defensive structure, with a garrison of soldiers stationed inside its massive body. In times of war, soldiers can pour boiling oil and rain arrows upon any ships attempting to enter the choke point of the lagoon. The Titan also functions as a lighthouse. In its eyes burn large beacon fires, lighting the way for returning ships. Legend has it that the Titan was built over several generations by the first Braavosi, who were escaped slaves from the Valyrian freehold. A trial of 7 is a form of trial by combat in A Song of Ice and Fire. A typical trial by combat is a method of determining the guilt or innocence of a person through ritualistic combat that is usually fought between 2 champions. As the name suggests, a trial of 7 requires both sides to field 7 champions in honor of the faith of the Seven, the main religion in Westeros. If the accused cannot find 6 men to stand with him, he is declared guilty. Trial ends when the accuser or the accused are defeated or yield. There has only ever been 2 trials of 7 fought in the history of Westeros. One during Maegor the Cruel's rise to power, when he was challenged by the captain of the warrior's sons, who believed Maegor had no claim to the Iron Throne. Maegor was the sole survivor of the trial. The second was the trial of Sir Duncan the Tall, after he assaulted Aerion Targaryen, who was terrorizing the small folk. Dunk's trial would see the death of 3 of his defenders, including Prince Baelor Targaryen. Have you heard of Oberyn Martell's uncle, Lewin Martell, who was a skilled warrior and served as a member of King Aerys Targaryen's Kingsguard? Despite swearing Kingsguard oaths of chastity, Lewin secretly kept a paramour. His fellow Kingsguard were aware of this, but kept his sworn brother's secret. During Robert's rebellion, King Aerys was paranoid beyond belief and saw enemies everywhere he turned. To ensure House Martell's continued support, Aerys used Lewin's niece, Princess Elia Martell, as a hostage to leverage the support of House Martell and maintain control over Lewin. He was put in command of a Dornish force 10,000 strong that joined to Prince Rhaegar's strength at the Battle of the Trident. Lewin fought valiantly but was mortally wounded. Despite his injuries, he fought on, before finally being defeated in single combat by Sir Lyn Corbray, who wielded the Valyrian steel blade Lady Forlorn. Did you know there were quite a few few musicians who had cameos in the Game of Thrones TV show. Gary Lightbody, the singer of Snow Patrol, appeared as a Bolton soldier leading a sing-along of The Bear and the Maiden Fair in Season 4. The Icelandic indie folk rock band of Monsters and Men appeared as musicians who were part of the theatre troupe in Bravos during Season 6. Members of the heavy metal band Mastodon appeared as Wildlings and later Whites during Hardhome in Season 5 and reprised their roles again in the final episode of Season 7. Coldplay's drummer Will Champion played a drummer during the Reigns of Castamere during Season 3 at the Red Wedding. Icelandic rock band Sigur Rós also performed during Joffrey's wedding in Season 4. American country singer Chris Stapleton appeared in The Long Night as a wildling during Season 8. And of course, Ed Sheeran appeared as Eddie, the Lannister soldier, during Season 7. Have you heard of Sithorios, the most dangerous place in A Song of Ice and Fire? Sithorios is the southern continent and is home to all manner of strange and dangerous creatures. Gigantic apes that are said to be able to expire an elephant with a single punch. There are walking tattooed lizards that run down their prey and rip them apart with their long curved claws, clearly inspired by velociraptors. Fierce, venomous, reptilian basilisks capable of growing to twice the size of a lion inhabit the shores. Wyverns, a smaller version of the dragons. Although they do not spit fire, they are considerably more ferocious. It is theorized that wyverns were a precursor to dragons, and that they were used to create the dragons through blood magic and genetic manipulation. There are also reports of huge white vampire bats that can drain a man of his blood in minutes. If these creatures don't get you, diseases likely will, as Sithorios is also home to several horrific diseases, making it the most dangerous place in A Song of Ice and Fire. Giants once inhabited much of Westeros, but they were hunted to near extinction by the First Men, and at the time of the main series, only a handful remain. Giants stand between 10 and 14 feet tall and have monstrous strength. They are covered in a thick fur, suiting them to colder climates. Giants ride huge mammoths and wield crude clubs and stone axes. They are a shy folk, but are hostile when they encounter humans, likely a remnant from ages past when they were hunted by the First Men. Giants are fiercely protective of nature and speak the old tongue. Throughout Westeros, giants have been incorporated into the heraldry of a few houses, like House Umber, and particularly tall men are rumored to have giant blood in their ancestry. We see a couple of giants in the book series, and receive reports that as many as 200 giants are among the wildling forces. Jon Snow has even begun to form a friendship with a giant named One Weg One Dar One, or simply known as One. The King's Guard are a brotherhood of knights sworn to protect the King of the Seven Kingdoms. Becoming a member of the King's Guard is the highest honor a knight can achieve, and is reserved for only the most skilled and deadly warriors. When a knight becomes a member of the King's Guard, they relinquish all claims on their inheritance, swearing to own no land, take no wife, and father no children. The intent is to ensure they have absolute devotion to their king. They were founded by Visenya Targaryen after several assassination attempts on her brother and king Aegon the Conqueror. Visenya modeled the Kingsguard oath after the Oath of the Night's Watch, and it is one taken for life. Probably the most famous Kingsguard was Sir Arthur Dayne, who served Aerys Targaryen and slew the Smiling Knight, the mountain of his generation. Sir Duncan the Tall was another, who defeated Lionel Baratheon in single combat and served Aegon V faithfully for decades. The Kingsguard are sworn to defend their king from harm, obey his commands, keep his secrets, provide counsel, and defend his honor.